Hey girl, hey, my name is Kaya and I'm a Christian content creator, coach slash mentor who loves Jesus, love to see women think of themselves higher, to be set free from sin, to see women walk out their callings in their ministry. So welcome to my YouTube where I will talk all things faith and share lifestyle content. So let's go ahead and get started. So there's no better way to start my YouTube journey than to tell you guys how I grew 100,000 followers in 6 months as a Christian creative. I say that because truth be told, it can be a lot easier to grow a following when you are not living a biblical life, when you're not posting things that would be pleasing to God. It is so easy for people to wear certain clothes, to say certain things, to operate in certain ways, and to grow followers. But it's actually a lot harder as a Christian to grow online, especially talking about Jesus. And so I have to talk about how I grew that many followers in such a short period of time, because you as a Christian, you're wanting to know how you can do the same. And so first, I want to start off with saying that it is so important to know what you're called to do and who you're called to. For example, for the longest, I'm telling you, for years, I ran from social media. I was that girl that posted every few months. I pop in, show my face, pop out, and be like, okay, that's all. I was that girl who never really posted on stories. I did not want people to know my life. I called myself an introvert, and I even had seasons where I would literally deactivate my account for 6 months, if not longer, and did not care. I did not have a lot of friends. I did not have much of a social life. I really was to myself. And now you're wondering, how did you get here then? How did you go from barely showing up online to literally posting consistently? It starts with God gave me a vision. He gave me a vision back in 2021 where he showed me that I was on a stage and I had a microphone in my hand. I looked out in this stage. There were thousands of women screaming and cheering, and immediately I knew, oh my goodness, I'm called to people. I'm called to women. I'm called to masses. I can't keep living small. And so I had no desire to grow online. I had a desire to share my testimony and allow social media to be my diary. At one point, I literally had in my bio, this is my diary. And so I literally started with just sharing vulnerable parts of my life. And I wasn't preaching. I don't want people to think that to grow a following, you have to really show up online and preach. I just started sharing my story, what I was going through, how I was feeling, and I did it consistently. But I did not know who I was called to, and because of that, I was just creating content that was just all over the place, just whatever I wanted. And so how I found out who I was called to, I posted a reel of literally me crying, holding flowers, and I can't actually, let's pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up for you guys really quick. Okay, so here's the reel that went viral. Literally a 7-second video, and it says, when you've never been in a loving, healthy, godly relationship, so you cry over everything because you can't believe how blessed you are. Guys, I did not post this to go viral, although I knew that I was going to have followers because the vision that God gave me. I was called to people, I was called to numbers, right? But I never strived to grow followers. I strive to be authentic and show up online, my story, and the vulnerable parts of me that I wouldn't usually share. I had no idea that so many women related to this reel. And so with this reel going viral, I started asking myself questions. Okay, what about this reel that women liked, and what about this reel that women struggle with, based off the comments that people were making, based off what people were saying when they shared it, and so forth. And so I realized that a lot of women don't know how to date. They struggle with godly relationships. They're either in unequally yoked relationships, and of course they struggle with their faith. So immediately I had a direction to go in, and the direction that I was going in, I was qualified to speak on. Because if you guys do not know much about me, I am a mother. I have twins. Almost 4 years I was a single mother, and so I knew what it was like to be in unequally yoked relationships. I knew what it was like to be single. I knew what it was like to struggle, and so I knew I could talk about this for days. So I started talking more about relationships and faith, and from there people really just started eating it up. I'm telling you, like rice cakes, ate it up. And that's where the direction I was able to go in regards to growing my following. But I'm sure you're on the other side saying, well, I don't have a viral piece of content. I don't know who I'm called to serve or who I'm called to speak to. And I want you to know, you know the answer, it's inside of you. It's based off your experience. It's based off your testimony. It's based off what you overcame and what you're still overcoming. And so I want you to look at your life. What about your life has God completely set you free and redeemed you from? It has to be something that women can see your life and see that you overcame it and want to strive towards the same goals that you've achieved. So when I was looking at this growth that I was getting online, I wasn't focused on, oh my gosh, how can I get more followers? Oh my gosh, how can I monetize? That's everyone's biggest goal. Their goal is, I want to get followers so I can get brand deals and make money. My focus isn't numbers, it's people. I didn't ask myself, what can I keep posting for me to continue to go viral? I asked myself, what do these individuals need? Think about what women or men are struggling with, and you be able to be the solution to them. And so that's literally what I started doing. So when I started realizing that women wanted more content about godly relationships, I started asking myself, what about the content that they need more of? What about godly relationships do they struggle with? They struggle with seeing their worth. There's probably a disconnect between them and the Father. So that means they don't probably read their Bible. That means they're probably struggling to pray. That means they probably don't have a godly community. And that means a lot of the things that they're struggling with is rooted in childhood trauma. And so all from women wanting to know more about godly content, I was able to pull from their struggles. It was not brand new, because the struggles that they have is the same struggles that I had or still have. And so I was able to literally talk to the younger version of me. I was able to talk to the girl before she got pregnant that will prevent her from getting in this unequally yoked relationship and having 2 children out of wedlock. I talked to the girl in the relationship where she was cheated on, where she was emotionally manipulated. I spoke to her so she could see her worth. I spoke to the girl who was struggling to know if this is the relationship that God has called her to be in. That was who I was talking to. I'm talking to the younger me. I'm talking to the little girl of me. I'm talking to the insecurities of me. So ask yourself, what about your story? What about your testimony can you share online? And not only that, how can people feel safe and feel heard through your content and through you? And so when I started growing these followers, I didn't want these followers to feel like, man, there's this girl on the other side. She has it all figured out and I have nothing figured out. That's the last thing I ever wanted. Instead, I offered tips and tools and resources for women to build community, to be able to be healed and to be set free. Another thing that I realized that was so important when it came down to growing my social media platform is that women want to belong, and I make them feel like they belong. I make them feel seen, I make them feel heard, but I also make them feel like I care about them. And you don't have to start building community when you have the followers. That's something you start now. Because truth be told, there's a lot of people who had a couple viral pieces of content and they neglected the needs of who were seeking help. And now they're barely getting any engagement. They're barely growing at all because the followers that they currently have, they don't know how to nurture. So start nurturing the followers that you have now. And the last one, and this is something I have to continue to lay down at the Father's feet. It's something that I have to be intentional about every single day, that it does not root in my heart, and that is pride. I always have to ask myself my motives, why I do what I do, and that I will always have the focus of directing people to Jesus, not to me. I show up for the woman who's lost, for the woman who's defeated, for the woman that's been rejected, for the woman that feels unworthy and unloved. I show up for her. And so when you want to grow your following, make sure you have the right motives as to why you want to grow and who you want to show up for. Don't let pride be rooted in your heart, where you see your platform as something that you want to gain for yourself, but that it will be a gain for the kingdom of heaven. And so those are my 3 tips as to how I grew 100,000 followers in 6 months on Instagram, and how you can incorporate the same. If you guys do not know, I do offer one-on-one coaching for women who want to grow their social media platform and for women who may be struggling in their faith. So know that I am here for you, and I'm going to include a link down in the description box where you can book a call if you feel the Holy Spirit pushing you to do so. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how you felt about this video. Love you guys. Bye.